The overall balance of power right now in the U.S. Senate, Democrats control 36 U.S. Senate seats. Republicans control 30 U.S. Senate seats. 34 seats remain. Remember, Republicans only need to pick up one net Senate seats. Let's go to Boris Sanchez right now, who has a projection when it comes to governor's races. Boris.
Jake, this is our first projection in a governor's race for the evening, and it comes from the state of Ohio. There, incumbent Republican Mike DeWine thread a needle. He was both critical of Donald Trump after the January 6th insurrection and then earned the former president's endorsement after the Republican primary. He defeats the Democratic mayor of Dayton, Ohio, Nan Whaley.
We are just moments away from the biggest round of poll closings this evening, including that critical Senate contest in the great Commonwealth of Pennsylvania that could go a long way toward deciding control of the U.S. Senate. As of right now, CNN is projecting that Senator Marco Rubio, the Republican from Florida, will be reelected, defeating Congresswoman Val Demings. In Alabama, CNN is projecting that Katie Britt will win her Senate seat, defeating her opponent. She is a former staffer for the retiring Republican Dick Shelby in that Alabama Senate seat, so that's a hold for Republicans. In Oklahoma, CNN is projecting that incumbent Senator James Lankford will win. In the special election in Oklahoma, CNN is projecting that Markwayne Mullin will be elected, defeating Kendra Horn. And then in Kentucky, CNN is projecting that incumbent Republican Senator Rand Paul will be reelected. We have governor's races for you as well, and Boris Sanchez has those.
Jake, we have two projections to bring you from the South, including a major win for Republicans in the state of Florida. Governor re-election by a considerable margin. Right now, DeSantis is up nearly 16 percentage points. That's notable because Donald Trump won the state of Florida in 2020 by about 3.5 points. DeSantis, of course, widely speculated that he may run for president. Trump certainly thinks so with some of his recent attacks on the Florida governor, who earns a return trip to the governor's mansion in the Sunshine State. We also have a projection to bring you from Ruby Ridge, Alabama, a state that Donald Trump won, earning about 60% of the vote in 2020. There, incumbent Republican Kay Ivey, a staunch Trump supporter, she defeats rehabilitative therapist Yolanda Flowers to win another 4 years in Alabama.
We're just moments away from another chance to make projections as polling places close in Arkansas. And CNN is making a projection right now. CNN is projecting that incumbent Republican Senator Todd Young will be reelected in the state of Indiana, the Hoosier state getting another term. Todd Young. In the U.S. Senate, Democrats hold 36 seats. Republicans hold 36 seats as well. 28 seats remain. Remember, you need 51 seats to control the U.S. Senate. Republicans need to pick up one net seat from the Democrats in order to win control of the U.S. Senate. Let's talk about governor's races now. Boris Sanchez has more there.
Jake, we have three projections to bring you, all three of them Republican holds, beginning in the state of New Hampshire. There are rumors he may run for 2024. Sununu winning a fourth term, defeating physician Sherman. Meantime, in the state of South Carolina, not a competitive Republican Henry McMaster defeating former Democratic Congressman Joe Cunningham to win another 4 years. An update now from Tennessee, another reliably red state. Donald Trump won 60-ish% of the vote there in 2020. Bill Lee winning re-election, the incumbent Republican defeating ICU physician Jason Martin.
The second busiest hour of the night, polls are closing in 15 states with a slew of high-profile races in key battlegrounds, including Arizona. And we have a CNN projection for you right now in New York. CNN is projecting that the current Senate Majority Leader, Democrat Charles Schumer, will be re-elected, defeating Joe Biden. South Dakota, CNN is projecting that a member of Republican leadership, Senator John Thune, will be re-elected, defeating Brian Banks. And in Kansas, CNN is projecting that incumbent Republican Senator Jerry Moran will be re-elected, defeating Democrat Mark Holland. Let's look at the map right now and talk about the races that we are not yet going to make a projection. They include the Senate races in Arizona, Colorado, Iowa, Louisiana, North Dakota, and Wisconsin. As of right now, we do not have a projection in those races. The balance of power, of course, 100 Senate seats. Democrats have 37 of those seats. Republicans have 38 of those seats. There are 25 seats remaining. Republicans only need to pick up one net seat in order to regain control of the U.S. Senate. There are governor's races going on out there as well. Let's go to Boris Sanchez for that.
Jake, two projections to bring you right now, beginning with a familiar face being elected governor of Arkansas. Sarah Huckabee Sanders, the former Donald Trump press secretary / communications director, following of her father, Mike Huckabee, becoming the new governor of Arkansas. We should note she becomes the first woman elected governor of that state, defeating Chris Jones. Another projection to bring you now, this one from Rhode Island. There, incumbent Democrat Dan McKee, his first full term in the Gina Raimondo when she left the governor's mansion to join the Biden administration as the Commerce Secretary.
Boris Sanchez now has a projection at the governor's desk.
Yeah, Jake, a trio of projections to bring you. In all of them, Republican incumbents hanging on, including in the state of South Dakota, where Democrats have not elected a governor since the 1970s. There, Kristi Noem earns another 4 years, defeating Jamie Smith. She is someone that potentially has presidential, if not vice presidential, aspirations for 2024. An update now, a projection from the state of Oklahoma. There, Kevin Stitt getting a big boost from national Republicans late in the game, a big influx of cash there. He defeats Democratic challenger Joy Hoffmeister to earn a return trip to the governor's mansion in Oklahoma. An update now from the state of Vermont. In a state that Joe Biden won by a considerable margin, Republican Governor Phil Scott earns another 4 years. He is the only Republican holding on to statewide office in that state as he defeats progressive educator Brenda Siegel.
And welcome back. CNN has some projections for you now. They are 3 Republican Senate holes. In Iowa, CNN projects that Chuck Grassley, incumbent Senator Chuck Grassley, will defeat retired Admiral and Democrat Michael Franken. Chuck Grassley holds that seat. In Louisiana, Senator John Kennedy, Republican Senator incumbent, will defeat Gary Chambers, who you might remember he smoked a joint during a campaign ad. John Kennedy will hold on to that seat, CNN projects. And then in Missouri, the Attorney General, Eric Schmidt, will become the next U.S. Senator from the state of Missouri. He defeats heiress Trudy Bush Valentine. Right now, polls are about to close in the political powerhouse of California, as well as 3 other states out west. And we have some projections for you now. 2 for Democrats, 1 for a Republican. In California, CNN is projecting that Senator Alex Padilla, who was appointed to that seat after Kamala Harris became the vice president, that he will be elected senator from California, defeating Mark Mosier. In Illinois, CNN is projecting that incumbent Democratic Senator Tammy Duckworth will be reelected, defeating Kathy Salvi. And in Idaho, CNN is projecting that incumbent Republican Senator Mike Crapo will be reelected, defeating David Roth. We have some governor's races to report for you now. Let's go to Boris Sanchez.
Jake, a handful of projections to make. In all of them, the incumbent keeping the governor's mansion. We begin in California with Governor Gavin Newsom. Remember, he survived a recall election last year. There are whispers that he may be considering a presidential run in 2024. He easily defeats election questioner Brian Dahle to win re-election in California. In the most expensive governor's race in the country, but perhaps one of the least competitive, incumbent Democrat billionaire J.B. Pritzker, who largely self-funded his own campaign, he defeats election denier Darren Bailey to win re-election in Illinois. Let's get a look at Maine now. There, the incumbent Democrat Janet Mills had a close race this summer with former 2-time LePage, but LePage fumbled abortion rights during a debate, and Mills never looked back, maintaining an advantage in polling. Tonight, she wins another 4 years in Maine. This time, in Idaho, the Republican incumbent, Brad Little, he will win re-election in a state that Donald Trump carried by some 60 percentage points in 2020. He defeats educator Stephen Haidt to win re-election in Idaho.
Will be re-elected, CNN is projecting. This is a seat that Republicans thought they could win. They thought they could defeat Hassan. They were very bullish. They were talking all week about momentum being their way. And instead, Maggie Hassan, the Democratic senator, holds on to that seat CNN is projecting. Let's look at the balance of power right now in the U.S. Senate. 100 seats. Democrats currently control 43 of those seats, with the Hassan keeping her seat. Republicans have 44 of them. There are 13 seats remaining. Republicans need to pick up 1 net Democratic seat in order to wrest control of the U.S. Senate. Those 13 seats are what we are waiting to see to determine if they are able to achieve that. But there are governor's races, too, and we're going to go to Boris Sanchez with some major news there.
Jake, there is a major projection we are making right now. Incumbent Republican Brian Kemp is projected to win re-election in the state of Georgia. This is a huge deal for Kemp. Remember, he drew Donald Trump's ire back in 2020 when he refused to find those 11,000 or so votes that Trump was looking for. Kemp, known for restricting abortion access in Georgia, for remaking the state's voting system, the electoral system there. And of course, his defeat over Stacey Abrams stamps him earning another term in the state of Georgia. Minutes after the last one in the state of Pennsylvania, Josh Shapiro, the Attorney General, will become the new governor of that state. Shapiro had a big lead in fundraising, a big lead in polls throughout. He continued to tie Doug Mastriano to Donald Trump, and it appears to have paid off. He takes over the open seat left behind by term-limited Governor Tom Wolf.
I'm going to go over to Jake for a projection.
That's right, Dana. We have a major projection right now. CNN is projecting that in Ohio, venture capitalist J.D. Vance will defeat Congressman Tim Ryan and be the next U.S. Senator from the state of Ohio. J.D. Vance will be elected the next senator from Ohio, taking the place of retiring Republican Senator Rob Portman. The balance of power right now, 100 seats in the Senate, 43 of them belong to Democrats, 45 of them belong to Republicans, 12 seats remain. All Republicans need to do is pick up one net Democratic seat, and they will be able to wrest control of the U.S. Senate. Projections. In North Carolina, CNN projects that Congressman Ted Budd will become the next U.S. Senator, defeating former North Carolina Supreme Court Justice Sherry Beasley. Ted Budd, endorsed by Donald Trump in this primary, and then Donald Trump rallied for him throughout North Carolina. He will become the next U.S. Senator from North Carolina. In Connecticut, this one's no surprise, incumbent Democratic Senator Richard Blumenthal will be reelected, defeating Republican Leora Levy. Let's take a look at the balance of power at this hour. As you know, 100 Senate votes. Democrats have 44 of them. Republicans have 46 of them. There are 10 seats remaining. 10 seats remaining. And CNN reminds you, of course, that Republicans just need to pick up one net Republican seat and one net Democratic seat in order to take control of the U.S. Senate. So that's where we are. That's right, John. And we have some more projections for you for the U.S. Senate. CNN projects in Washington state, incumbent Democratic Senator Patty Murray will hold on to her seat, defeating a challenge from Republican Tiffany Smiley. Senator Patty Murray, reelected, CNN projects. And then just south of Washington, in Oregon, CNN projects that incumbent Democratic Senator Ron Wyden will defeat a challenge from Jo Ray Perkins. So that's 2 Democratic seats held on. Where does that leave us in the balance of power? Obviously, you know, 100 seats. Right now, we have Democrats with 46 of them, Republicans with 46 of them, 8 seats remaining. Remember, Republicans just need to pick up one net Democratic seat in order to wrest control of the U.S. Senate. Right now, it's 46-46.
I've got to go to Boris Sanchez for a projection.
Yeah, Jake, 2 important projections to bring you, beginning with the race in New York. This race got very close in polling at the end, but in actuality, when the votes were counted, it wasn't very close at all. Incumbent Democrat Kathy Hochul winning her first full term in office. She took over, of course, for disgraced former Governor Andrew Cuomo after he resigned. She defeats Congressman Lee Zeldin to win a first full term in the state of New York. Next, an update for you from the state of Minnesota. Tim Walz, the incumbent Democrat, projected to win re-election there against Scott Jensen, a physician who made some dubious claims about the COVID-19 vaccine. 2 Democratic incumbents holding on to the governor's mansion in those 2 states.
Yeah, or at least not a negative night for them, not the kind they were fearing. We have projections for you now, and 5 of them are for Democrats winning, and 1 is for a Republican winning. In Tennessee, Republican Andy Ogles, a former mayor and conservative think tank executive, has flipped a seat in Tennessee. It is a Nashville area district that got much more Republican after redistricting. Democrat Greg Landsman has flipped a seat in Ohio. This is a surprise and a big win for Democrats. He beat longtime incumbent Republican Steve Chabot. This congressional district includes Cincinnati and became a lot bluer after redistricting. Democrat Marcy Kaptur in Ohio, one of the longest-serving members of the House, has been reelected in Ohio. She defeated a far-right Trump supporter who was at or near the Capitol on January 6th. That's after her district was made more Republican. She won anyway. Ohio state legislator Amelia Sykes has won an open seat for Democrats In northern Ohio, it's a swing district that Biden won by 3. Kansas Democrat Sharice Davids has won a third term. She's one of the first 2 Native American women to serve in Congress. That is a tough congressional district. It's a battleground district. She has been reelected. Rhode Island State Treasurer Seth Magaziner has held on to an open seat for Democrats. It's a district Biden won by 14. Republicans thought they could pick it off in a wave year. Apparently, it's not the year they thought they were going to have. Illinois' 13th congressional district, Democrat Nikki Budzinski has flipped an open seat that was gerrymandered to become more blue. She's a former Biden administration official. She will defeat Regan Deering. And then in New Jersey's 7th congressional district, Republican Thomas Kean Jr. has defeated incumbent Congressman Tom Malinowski. Malinowski is the incumbent. Kean Jr., the former New Jersey Senate Republican leader, and also son of the former New Jersey governor and chair of the 9/11 Commission, Tom Kean. Let's look at the balance of power right now. 218 seats are needed to control the House of Representatives, 165 seats. The Democrats have 165, including 2 pickups. Republicans have 190 seats, including 7 pickups, 80 seats remaining right now. The state of play right now when it comes to those competitive seats, those 82 competitive seats we've been looking at the entire night, Republicans need to win 21 of them. Democrats need to win 40 of them. So Republicans have an easier task ahead of them. We also have some governor's races for you right now. Boris Sanchez has those.
Jake, we have a pair of projections to bring you, both of them Democratic holds. First, in the state of New Mexico, incumbent Democrat Michelle Lujan Grisham, the only Latina governor in the United States. She defeats former TV weatherman Mark Ronchetti for another 4 years in New Mexico. In the state of Connecticut, another Democratic win. Incumbent Democrat Ned Lamont winning his rematch against Bob Stefanowski. This race decided by 3 percentage points last time around, a much bigger margin this time, securing another 4 years for Ned Lamont. We have a bonus projection to bring you. In a Secretary of State race in Georgia, this guy became a household name after the 2020 election. Brad Raffensperger caught on tape as Donald Trump tried to convince him to find 11,000 votes in the Peach State. Raffensperger refused. Donald Trump made him a target, but he wins re-election as the Secretary of State in Georgia.
That's right, John, because CNN has a major projection. CNN projects that Lieutenant Governor John Fetterman will be the next U.S. Senator from the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. This is a pickup. Retiring Senator Pat Toomey is a Republican, and the Democrats are now taking that Senate seat back. Again, CNN is projecting that John Fetterman will be the next U.S. Senator from the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania.
I just got to go to Boris Sanchez for a projection.
Yeah, Anderson, an important projection to bring you from the state of Wisconsin in that governor's race. This state was decided by only about 20,000 votes in the last presidential election. As it stands right now, Tony Evers, the incumbent Democrat, has nearly tripled that total. He stands to win re-election in the state of Wisconsin, defeating Republican Tim Michels.
We can now make a projection in the Senate race in Utah. CNN is projecting that incumbent Republican Senator Mike Lee will be reelected by the good citizens of Utah. He defeats independent candidate Evan McMullen. Let's look at the balance of power in the Senate right now. 100 seats, 47 of them belong to the Democrats, including 1 pickup in Pennsylvania. 47 of them belong to the Republicans. There are 6 seats remaining. Republicans need to win 2 net Democratic seats in order to win control of the U.S. Senate. We have governor's races for you to talk about now as well. Boris Sanchez has that.
Yeah, Jake, a big projection for CNN. We are projecting that Gretchen Whitmer, the incumbent Democrat in the state of Michigan, will win re-election. She made abortion rights the centerpiece of her campaign. She filed a lawsuit to stop a 1931 abortion ban that took effect after the Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade in the Dobbs decision. She also introduced legislation in that state to expand and protect abortion access. It pays off for her as she defeats Tudor Dixon, a Trump-endorsed election denier, Jake.
All right, Boris Sanchez, thanks so much. And we can now make projections in 3 states that have ballot measures on abortion. CNN projects that Californians have voted yes on establishing a state constitutional right to an abortion. Voters in Michigan have approved a similar ballot measure, saying yes to abortion rights. The trend is holding in Vermont, another yes vote to ensure the right to an abortion. And take a look at Kentucky, a measure that would amend the state constitution to explicitly state that there is no Kentucky constitutional right to an abortion. That is trailing as of right now.
I'm going to go to Jake for a projection.
Thanks, Dana. That's right. CNN has a projection for you right now. CNN projects that Senator Brian Schatz of Hawaii, the Democrat, will be reelected, defeating Republican Bob McDermott. Let's bring the balance of power on that right now, because we've just added a seat to the Democrats. Democrats is 100 seats in the U.S. Senate. Democrats have 48 of them, including a pickup in a Republican seat. That's Pennsylvania. Republicans have 47. In order for Republicans to wrest control of the U.S. Senate from the Democrats, they now need to win 2 net Democratic seats. 2 net Democratic seats.
And just in, we have CNN projections in the House. We're going to take you straight away to the 15th district, Texas's 15th district. Look, it's there on your wall. Republicans have picked up a seat. Monica De La Cruz has defeated the Democrat there, has defeated the Democrat in Texas. In Iowa, the 2nd congressional district Republican Ashley Henson has won, defeating Liz Mathis. The Republicans holding on to that seat in Iowa. Ashley Henson winning right now. In Minnesota's 2nd district, Democratic Angie Craig has defeated Republican Tyler Kistner there. This is a hold for Democrats. Democrats hang on to that seat in Minnesota. This is now North Carolina's 13th district that you're looking at. Democrat Wiley Nickel has won over Republican Bo Hines. Wiley Nichols defeats Republican Bo Hines. This is a Democratic pickup there. Take it to Pennsylvania. This is the 8th district. Incumbent Democrat Matt Cartwright has held his seat. And in that state's 17th district, another hole for Democrats there. Chris DeLazio has defeated Republican Jeremy Schaefer, defeated Jeremy Schaefer there. So I want you to take a look at the balance of power now. The balance of power, Republicans getting closer and closer to that magic number of 218, but they're not there yet, and we still have lots of runway to go. And another CNN projection just in. That CNN projection is in Alaska. Alaska will remain a Republican stronghold. This is a seat held by incumbent Lisa Murkowski. We cannot yet declare an exact winner because the state uses ranked choice voting. So that's what's happening in Alaska. That is the balance of power. Now in the House, we're going to continue to check in with the balance of power in the House, also as well the balance of power in the Senate.
Press Secretary Sarah Huckabee Sanders is going to be the first woman elected governor of Arkansas after she won the office that her dad held for over a decade. New York Governor Kathy Hochul defeated Republican Lee Zeldin, becoming the state's first elected female governor. She had been appointed to the position last year. In my home state of Alabama, Republican Katie Britt becomes the first elected female senator from the state after she won the race to succeed her one-time boss, retiring GOP Senator Richard Shelby. 25-year-old Democrat Maxwell Frost is the first Gen Z member of Congress after he won Florida's 10th congressional district. He's 25 years old. He's going to succeed Democrat Val Demings. She vacated the seat to run for Senate, a race that she lost last night. Democrat Wes Moore going to be Maryland's first black governor and only the 3rd African-American ever elected governor in the United States. In addition to that, Anthony Brown is going to be the first black person ever elected attorney general in Maryland. In Massachusetts, Democrat Maura Healey is going to be the first openly lesbian governor in U.S. history and the first elected female governor in the state. Republican Markwayne Mullin is going to be the first Native American senator from Oklahoma in almost 100 years after he won a special election for the seat left open by the retiring Republican Senator Jim Inhofe. And in Pennsylvania, Democrat Summer Lee is going to be the state's first black woman elected to Congress. She won the 12th congressional district last night.
We're live in Washington, where Democrats are now only one seat away from keeping control of the United States Senate after scoring a critical victory in Arizona just minutes ago. Now all eyes are on the vote counting in Nevada, where new results were just released in the U.S. Senate race there, a contest that could potentially determine Senate control. I'm Wolf Blitzer, and this is Election Night in America continued. And what a night it is right now, with a new decision in Arizona and new tightening going on right now in Nevada. Arizona Senator Mark Kelly pulling off a critical win for the Democrats just a little while ago, defeating his Republican opponent, the Trump-endorsed election denier Blake Masters. And in Nevada, the Senate race has narrowed again after that new round of results that have just come in. Democratic incumbent Catherine Cortez Masto nipping at the heels of her Republican challenger, Adam Laxalt. Take a look at the balance of power in the Senate this hour. Democrats and Republicans now have won 49 seats each, but Democrats are closer than Republicans to winning Senate control. They need only one more seat to lock up a majority because Vice President Kamala Harris has the tie-breaking vote in the Senate. There is also a very exciting fight playing out right now for control of the U.S. House of Representatives. And we can now make a new projection. CNN projects that Democrat Greg Stanton is reelected to a third term in Arizona in a Tempe-based district that Biden carried by 10 points. Take a look at the balance of power in the House where it stands right now. Democrats inching up to 203 seats, Republicans holding at 211 seats. That's 7 short of the 218 seats needed to win control of the House. But Democrats continuing to make gains tonight. CNN projects that Democrats will keep their Senate majority as Catherine Cortez Masto takes the lead in that razor's edge Nevada Senate race. It's election night in America continued.
Well, look, election night is carrying on with CNN calling 2 more House races in just the past hour. These wins bring the GOP to 214 seats. That's just 4 away from getting control of the House at 218. And we're projecting tonight that Democrat Katie Hobbs will win Arizona's governor's race, defeating Republican candidate Kari Lake, a Trump ally who's been pushing election lies and said that she would not have certified Joe Biden's win in Arizona.